Hello everybody, Tester and Development Screencast is going on. My name is Joe. This is the first episode recorded in 2022. So I wish everybody Happy New Year, and hopefully this year is gonna be better than the previous one. And we are gonna continue our screencast as usual, where we left off in the previous episode. So in the previous episode I said that in this one we are gonna start working on the UI of the people section, which is still not renamed to friends section, that I said multiple times that I want to do that. But basically I've come to realization that we've done a little mistake. Actually not that little mistake, but we went into the wrong path essentially. And the problem is that now we have the user catalog that is part of the application and a post catalog. So those two sort of catalogs are entry point or communication to the backend. So once we have the backend, these sort of stuff, these catalogs right now are substituting the actual backend. So when we create a profile or when we create a following or anything related to the user, it should go through this user catalog. That's our API, sort of replacing the API, the real API of the backend. However, in the past two episodes, I think we were working with a people catalog, which is completely new thing, and there is no relation between these two. So because the user catalog is the one that works with the users and it knows about who is following whom, we have to use the user catalog rather than the post catalog. So we have to, in a way, inline this people catalog into the user catalog and get rid of that essentially. So that's gonna be a little bit of refactoring in this episode because we want to fix this big problem before continuing with the UI, and I think it's gonna be fun. So let's take a look in the code. So I've realized that we have to do this when I read this this part of the to-do that I had. So basically, when I read that we have this offline people catalog and an available people catalog, and these are test doubles that we want to make reusable, we actually have these the offline and the unavailable user catalogs as test doubles. And then I said, like, well, why do we need that? And when I looked into the code, I realized that actually the people catalog is something that we want to get rid of and replace it with the user catalog. Then I thought, what's going to be an easy way to refactor this? Because this is Kotlin, of course. Like, I was thinking maybe we can just inject here the user catalog and then write the functionality to, like, this function to delegate in there into the user catalog and then inline this class, but that's not gonna be possible. I think it's gonna be more of a tricky one. So what I'm gonna be doing, what I'm thinking to do is call my my old friend, introduce something new, replace the usages of the old one with the new one, delete the old one. So that's essentially something that always works for me. So let's see how we are gonna get there. So basically we want to have this functionality. So what we have here, we want to have into this into the user's catalog. So we have to replicate this behavior, this data into the user's catalog somehow, and also pay attention on this is followee. Actually has to be is follower. So let's maybe start in there with that refactoring. So is follower. And then let's see. Okay, just the actual type and the two tests are affected. Improve naming. Okay, and now because I think the user catalog is working with users, it is still not aware of the concept of friend, this type. So let's maybe extract. It's gonna be easier, I think, if we just extract these users into separate. Well, let's first maybe rename these into Tom friend, or maybe friend Tom. Friend Anna. Friend Sarah. And then extract these users into separate fields or properties. And I think if I realize that later on that it's a duplication or like something that I don't need, I'll inline. It's gonna be easy. So this is gonna be Tom. Let's make it. Come on, make it private. Then also private, instead of user it should be Anna, and here Sarah. So we have these three users, Tom, Anna, and Sarah, and then we have them wrapped into a friend, and we have the people catalog. So everything at this moment should still work as it used to, because basically I just extracted some stuff and did a renaming. It shouldn't affect much, but also it's a good time to run the tests. I haven't run them for a while, so it should warm up a little bit. And then another thing is that right now the tests, they are written as like a user that doesn't have any, when there is no people in the catalog, when there is one person in the catalog, when there are multiple people in the catalog. So we have to replace that into our users catalog. So let's see how that's gonna go. Actually, let's first check in what we have. So we have extracted data into extracted test data. So I would say user catalog is gonna be an in-memory user catalog, and then this one takes users for password, and a password at this moment for this particular test is irrelevant. I just need some users there and some followings in there. So for the first test, because there are no people, I don't need anything in there. So like I can have them empty. And all I need to do is in this people repository, because that one is talking to the people catalog, I want to replace the people catalog with the user catalog. I can just pass here the user catalog. Add parameter to constructor. It should be a safe refactoring. It should be val user catalog. The type should be not in memory user catalog, just the interface user catalog. And the default value will be, let's say, the in-memory user catalog, and call the constructor. Now if I run the test, the compiler will tell me what's not working. Now we have this fail people loading test. As I said, let me hide this. As I said, we have this unavailable user catalog already, so I can just use that one here. Available user catalog. And same here. So let's improve a little bit the formatting here. Same here, I can do the offline user catalog. So these are test doubles that we can reuse, that we have created before. And ultimately, when we will remove the people catalog, these two will have to go away. That's the idea. Okay, rendering people states test. And this one, for now, let's keep the in-memory user catalog, but here I think the test will fail when we will do the actual replacement, like completely, because here I'll also have to have this data into my in-memory user catalog. Or in fact, let's maybe do that right now. Okay, now all the tests are working. Let's maybe just make this commit, because I might have to revert what I want to do next. So, and here in the people repository, just last thing before I do the commit, I want to make this private. So for now it is unused, everything is fine, and all the tests are working. So I introduced a new argument. So what happened is introduced the user catalog as a property into the people repository. So far so good. So if we go back to this test, which is sort of the test that checks more like an acceptance test, that actually tests everything thoroughly, that checks whether the all the states are delivered to any observer. So what has to happen here is, let's create private val user catalog. It's gonna be in memory user catalog. Now I need for people both Tom and Anna to be part of it. So I'm gonna pass here the users for password. Users for password is gonna be mutable map of irrelevant, because I don't care what's gonna be the password, but I need, that's gonna be two. Okay, I need a mutable list here of Anna and Tom. Oh, I have to extract the users here too. So let me back off. I need to extract, let's first rename friend Anna, friend Tom, and then extract the user Tom, and the user Anna. So we have Anna, Tom, let's make them private. And then the friends, and then we have the people catalog. And now I think I can easily say users for password, mutable map of, as I said, irrelevant, to mutable list of Anna, Tom. And I need followings is gonna be list, actually mutable list of, because that's the type that those are mutable, are the types that the in-memory user catalog is taking, because it additionally it works on them. Like if I create a user afterwards, it adds to this initial state. So that's the idea. So here I need a following, because as I can see here, what I had before, I had a user where both of these are basically followers. So I have to add here that following, where this thing is following Anna ID, and also another following where the same ID is following Tom ID. And I have to use this user catalog here instead. And so far so good. I think everything is just fine because the user catalog is not really used into the people repository, but we need this setup. So now additionally, I would like to actually come up with one more user here to put this ID in there. So it's gonna make the test intention a little bit better and also remove this duplication. So a user with ID built, and now here I would say this is gonna be better. And here as well. See, the assertion stays the same, right? So we expect the friend Tom and friend Anna to be returned back. So I think we have to also change the order. So first goes Tom, second Anna, because here they'll go in the same order. I think the order for now doesn't matter, but because I think it's gonna check also the order in the list, it's better to have it that way. Anyway, I think now we can check this in. And what I have done is introduced in-memory user catalog inside the tests. Introduced a prepared in-memory user catalog for the tests. And I think we should do the same in this test. Not in this one, but in this one. Well, I'm already in there. So for this one, it should be empty. For this one, it should be in-memory user catalog. Users for password is gonna be again mutable map of irrelevant to mutable list of. At this point we only have the Tom, that user into so for Anna ID we have only Tom inside as a people available. And if we take a look, Tom is not friend, so I don't think we have to add any following, so this is gonna be sufficient. But we can do the same. So this Sarah ID we can replace like this one with Sarah ID and this one with an ID. And also here we'll do the same, but here we do have some following. So user for password is gonna be mutable map of irrelevant to mutable list of Anna, Sarah, and Tom. And then followings is gonna be a mutable list of following. I think we have only one, and that one is Anna and Lucy. So Lucy ID is following Anna ID. So let's do the same with Lucy. Introduce a user for Lucy. Is user Lucy ID. I think we can replace this with a builder to make it nicer. Let's first replace this Han ID, Lucy ID, Sarah ID. Everything should still work. It does. And here I should replace also. And here. So far so good. And what I wanted to do next, oh yeah, the builder here. So this is gonna be a user with ID built. So we are basically getting rid of this noise of empty strings here. A user with ID, Anna ID, built. This is gonna be a user with ID, Sarah ID, built. And finally a user with ID Lucy built. Everything should still work. It does. Now let's check this in. Actually, I'll just amend the previous commit. So I think it's the same change, but it's just 2 tests that I'm updating. So everything should be still fine. And now to do the real thing, go back here, and now what I want to do is I'll keep this old thing that is already in there, but what I want to do is people for user is, instead of now getting to the people catalog, I'm gonna reach out to the user catalog and introduce the same API. Load people for user ID, and then return the people state loaded people for user. So now I think, I don't know why, but the studio recently started behaving this way. It is not showing any errors, but clearly this shouldn't compile. So I'm gonna run the test in order to make it compile and then see that something is not working. So this is people for user, yes. So this API does not exist. So I just have to create an abstract function into the user catalog interface. And I just realized that this and this should be both suspended. And now I'll close the user catalog. If I run now the tests, this one compiles, but if I run the tests, it will tell me, because I've introduced this new function, some of the implementations of this user catalog, well, not some, but all of them are not having this new implementation. So I have to do that. So this one should be suspend. I don't know why it wasn't before. And now also override the load people. Let's keep it as a to-do for now. Or actually write the implementation and then see what else has to be compiled. So here what I want to do is users followed in fact people followed by user is followed by user ID. So that's a collection of IDs that this user ID is following. And then I'll say all users is going to be basically this one. So I'll do additional refactoring to remove this duplication now, but that's gonna be later. So I'll take all the users and then I'll return all the users and map it into a friend where the user is gonna be the first argument, the second is gonna be user ID in people followed by user. So now this reads well. This reads nicely. So that's gonna be the implementation. So all the users, I'm gonna map them into friends where the user is gonna be one argument and the second if the user ID is into the people followed by the user ID. Okay. Now I think this one offline user catalog. Oh yeah, these are the reusable test doubles. This should be suspend. And here I should override this other thing and also throw the same connection unavailable exception because all of these functions they should behave the same. What's next? The unavailable user catalog. Again, this one should be suspend. Override. Throw backend exception. Okay, this one I think I can leave it also not implemented. And the same here, this is for the UI tests. Spend fun and override. And all the tests are still working well. So that's a good sign, good indicator. So now what we've done is we wrote this implementation here. It works. And here we can get rid of these two lines and it should still work. And let's check this now in actually. So what we want to do is use the user catalog to get the people followed by to fetch the to load the people for a user. Excuse me. And now this one becomes unused. So what we can do is safely delete. That should still work. And these two, as I said before, are becoming unused or obsolete, so we can get rid of them too as well. Everything should still work. Now, also this in-memory people catalog and the people catalog, they should also go away, but first we have to get rid of the usages, find out where they are used. So we can get rid of it in this test. Let's see how the test looks. Okay, I think it looks good. And I think there was also the rendering people state test. Here we can get rid of it too. It should still work. It does. And now I think it became unused, so we can get rid of this one. And also we can get rid of this one. And also we can get rid of these two. Everything still works. And I believe that now we can do the final refactoring here, but let's first check in all of these. So what happened is we have deleted removed the people catalog and its derivates as because, well, just delete, doesn't matter why, they are unused now. What I wanted to do is this, extract this into a field, all users, but because I think, for example, if all users, if I assigned what comes in the constructor right away, if somebody calls, let's say, create user afterwards, it calls the save user, which adds into the users for password. That's not gonna work. So what I have to do instead is assign this a type, list of user, and then do get. So every time I call all users, it's gonna call the getter, which will actually reach out to the users. And this is good. This is fine as a behavior for an in-memory implementation. It works just fine. And that should still work. And I'm happy with what I got now. I'm not particularly happy with this, with users for password, because right now we don't have login functionality. I know that this is particularly gonna be needed for the login when I have the login, but for now, I think it's just additional overhead. But yeah, I think I'll just keep what I got, because I know that I'll need it later when I'll be working on some sort of login. Let's move this one a little bit up on top of all the functions. Then we have 3 public functions and everything else private in here. That's great. Tests are working well. Let's check in. Remove duplication. And next, I think maybe we can finally do this rename, Let's see if that's gonna go somewhat easy. So first, let's rename this package. Friend state. We are gonna get this one too. Rendering friend state test. People screen. Friends screen. Friends view model. Then this one should be friends robot. And this one should be friends screen test. Let's see what we got here. This one should be friends robot. Tap on friends. So I just go wild, and wherever I see people, I'll just rename with friends. This one should be also renamed to friends. Okay. This one should be friends verification robot. Friend screen is present. Good. There is no more people here. That's the row. This is the displays. Friends screen. We should also run the UI tests just to make sure this refactoring, all these last things that we've done are not broken. Nothing in here. Friends, fail. Friends loading test. Load. Friends test. Rendering friend state test. Let's actually search for people. Base function load friends for user ID. That's better. And continue. Just search. Where does this exist? So yeah, this should be also renamed to friends. People repository should be friends repository. The parameter should also be friends repository. And this one should be load friends for user ID. This should be friends for user. Everything's fine, I think. I don't know if this should be friends too. Sign up. This is part of the navigation though. We have to be careful with this. Should be friends screen. Okay. Load friends. That's the view model. The view model inside should have mutable friends state and then a friend state. I think we are coming closer to the end. Friend state delivered. Yeah, people, friends followed by user. Okay, the icon people, I think. Well, okay, let's also rename this one too. I don't know. Should be fine. No friends existing. And the last one loaded multiple friends. I think there is no sign of people any longer in this project. Let's see if the micro tests are working. It should be fine. Yes. And I would also like to run the UI tests to make sure that everything is still okay. It should, I mean. Only if I screw something with the navigation, but I don't believe, because we've encapsulated well all the paths and everything related to the navigation in some of the previous episodes, so it should be fine. I'll move this window a little bit to the left so we can see what's happening. And now let's watch. So while we are waiting for the tests to run, and if you made it so far, I would like to ask, so please write down in the comments, what do you think about going on Twitch? So basically live programming, so then you can also have a chance to ask questions or make it a little bit more interactive. So how do you feel about that idea? And also write down what do you think about timing, because I'm not very flexible with the time. If I go like I record these episodes late in the evening or the night, like after 11 p.m. Because I have family and kids, and I have to put them to sleep before I can just get ready and then prepare and then start recording. So if I go on Twitch, it's gonna be after, let's say, 10ish or 11. What do you think about the idea? Please let me know down in the comments, or like tweet at me, doesn't matter. Now back to the tests. They are working well, so we've done a great job, I think, with the rename as well. Rename people to friends. And I think that's gonna be it for this episode, because I think we've achieved quite a lot. So that was a refactoring that had to happen, both the renaming, but also the more important one, to replace or to get rid of this people catalog that I came up while working on the previous features. Now we are ready to start working on the UI. So in the UI, basically, we'll be able to show all the people when we want to fetch people for a particular user, and then we'll be able to see a little, let's say, indicator whether somebody is being a follower or not. So that's about it, I think. We'll see how everything's gonna go with the UI starting from the next episode. For now, this is more than enough. Thank you so much for the time and attention. Once again, please let me know what you think about going live on Twitch, or maybe just do something completely different, not working on this particular application, rather work on, let's say, some kata that you wish. Let me know what do you think about it. And thank you so much for the time and attention. I'm gonna catch you in the next episode. Cheers.